Hey everyone, this is Emmanuel, your body code practitioner out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I wanted to do a quick video about a huge announcement. You guys ready for this big, huge announcement? And I'm very, very excited, and I want to let everyone know, especially Facebook or on YouTube. And this may not be a big thing for you. You might be like, well, that's not that big. It's not a big of a deal. But everything is relative, right? What's big for you is big for someone, is not big for someone else. What someone's trash is someone else's treasure. I mean, the reality is we're all, every level there's a new devil, right? Everyone's dealing with their own wins and accomplishments, and I want to share one with you that's very, very huge for me. And hopefully my clients and my friends say this is a very, very amazing big step, and they kind of see it through my perspective. And today I'm going to talk about my personal release of what they call the Addictive Heart Energy. Now, I've been an energy healer using the Emotion Code Body Code for a while now, almost like a year and a half, almost 2 years. And something that I haven't, the one neglect that some energy healers do, and if you're an energy healer, you can relate, is we don't work on ourselves enough. And it's very, very important to do that. In fact, the daughter of Dr. Bradley Nelson, who created the Emotion Code Body Code, kind of gave me the little whoosh, and said, hey, you need to work on yourself at least twice a week. And I remember her saying that, and I started scheduling it, but even then I would move my schedule, right? Anyone ever move their schedule? Am I the only one? Okay. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to get rid of this thing called AHE. You might say, what is an AHE? Well, an AHE, anyone ever said to yourself or said about a person, hey, that person has an addictive personality, or don't get them on cigarettes, or don't let them do a drug, or don't let them do something and there's people out there that are addicted to road trips. There are people that are addicted to going to the gym. There's people with pornography, smoking, drinking, addicted to thinking negative thoughts about yourself. I mean, you could be having, or addicted to cleaning. I mean, you could have many, many different things that you're addicted to. And you don't realize that you may have this AHE. Well, what is this? It's a very profound attractor field, the driving force behind addictions of all kinds. Dr. Bradley Nelson was the one that discovered it. And it's interesting, it's this energy in your body, a real energy that basically keeps you locked into these addictions. And what it comes from is usually it comes from a heart wall, you creating this heart wall. Now, for those of you who are new to what the heart wall is, I'm just gonna keep it super short because some of you guys probably have heard this a couple of times. But a heart wall is basically energies that are coming over the heart to protect you from what they call, heart trauma. So every time you have heart trauma, whether it's emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, anything like that, it could be also moving, heartbreak, divorce, just many different things can cause your heart to hurt due to emotions. And what's interesting is when that happens, your body has this inclination to take a trapped emotion from your body, these little energies in your body, and place them over the heart to protect you. Here's the problem though. If you keep adding these walls, something that starts showing up is depression, anxiety, PTSD, things like that. And I've dealt with my fair share. But what's interesting is that while this is moving up and while you're adding these walls, an energy slowly starts getting created called an addictive heart energy. And this is kind of to compensate for the fact that your heart doesn't feel much. So your body's like, okay, I'm starting to get numb. Okay, time to create this AHE to basically compensate for that numbness, and it's looking for things to get addicted to kind of feed you while you kind of feel numb. And so I just found that very interesting that 42%, that's what Dr. Bradley Nelson found out, around 42% of his patients that he worked with had this thing called addictive heart energy. If you're addicted to chocolate or addicted to certain foods, any type of addiction, you'll be very surprised. You probably have an addictive heart energy that's created from the heart wall. And what's interesting with Dr. Brad, he said that when I believe his daughter released his AHE, his had to do with work. He said that he would work, then his child would come in for 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden he would leave and play with the child for about 10 minutes, and then he would get back to what? Work. How many of us are in that situation where we'll be working, all of a sudden it's like, we'll give them a certain allotted time, but then we're like, all right, gotta go, And I think that's, now that we know the statistic in America, at least America, it could be at different other countries, but the average parent spends about 15 minutes with their child, if that. But that's like a statistic, 15 minutes, that's it. But imagine the influence that's coming from YouTube, the schools, and different types of associations, way more. And you're wondering why sometimes our child or the future generation is a little bit going off the edge of the cliff, is because we don't put in too much influence, And so I removed this addictive heart energy recently, and I realized that, you know what, I need to make more time for my family. I need to make more time for my son Hayden, and I just need to make time for people that matter the most to me, beyond my clients. And so, and with the hardest thing to do though is when you're having a lot of success, when you're meeting with 15, 16 people a day, to kind of this is probably the hardest time to say, and most, obviously the male psyche is like provide, provide, provide. Well, the thing is I think it's time to look into ourselves and be like, what matters the most at the end of the day. And I read a book called Return from Tomorrow. If you haven't read that book, it's a very, very powerful book. Seriously, I must have cried maybe 3 or 4 times in that book. And it was talking about this person who has a NDE, near-death experience. And one of the things that he met the creator for a couple minutes there. And it was a beautiful thing that the creator said to him. He says, not what were you doing? He said, who were you being in what you were doing? I'll say that again. The creator didn't say, what were you doing? He didn't care if you were like some super successful guy. He didn't care if you're a poor person just trying to make, $1 out of 15. He didn't care about that. What he cared about was the first question was, who have you been? In everything that you do, who have you been? And it really struck me that question came to that person. And so I said, you know what? Who have I been? Who am I really? To myself, to the people around me, to people I love? It's a very good question to ask, because sometimes we get if they say that the statistic goes that the average, person passes away 2 years after their retirement, that means they thought that they were their what? Their job. And I'm not my job. Like Brad Pitt in Fight Club says, you're not your khakis, you're not your bank account, you're not, he has a really good point. You're not what you own. You're not the job you have. There's something deeper inside of you, the I am that's inside of you, that needs to be acknowledged. Like, who are you really? Who is that I am? And so what I did is, when Dr. Bradley Nelson removed this addictive heart energy, when he had his addictive heart energy removed, he ended up at a mall somewhere with his daughter, and he's going like, wait a minute, I don't usually go out to the mall on Wednesdays. So I was like, what will happen if I remove my addictive heart energy? What am I really addicted to? And guess what it was? It was work. It was work. Addicted to work. Addicted to provide. Maybe even some subconscious sense of lack. But the you know how it is, the male wants to provide. And so remove this addictive heart energy. And you know what? I said, I'm going to make a big announcement. The announcement is, I'm not going to work on Fridays. And that's kind of a big deal. Trust me, when you're working and you're doing very, very well and you're becoming very successful, I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to take 3-day weekends. Another thing that I'm going to shift to is I'm going to not work at nighttime. I used to work a day in the afternoon, and then I would have my dinner, and then I would actually do late night sessions. I would do 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. And for some reason I had the energy. Why? Because it's my passion. It's what I love to do. But then I realized I'm sacrificing time from something that might be very important. So I made 2 huge adjustments, guys. This is big ones. And hopefully you guys can say, congratulations, this is a big step. And trust me, maybe this is helping you re-examine like your priorities. And maybe if I did that for one person, hey, this video was worth it, right? So I'm taking off night times, and I'm also taking off Friday. So I'm gonna have 3-day weekends now, from now on the rest of my life, from what I can recall. But it was easy for me to do that because I removed this addictive heart energy. And so if you have some type of obsession that you're dealing with, that you're like, I have to work out, or I feel guilty, or I have to work, or I feel guilty, or I need to smoke because I can't stop smoking, or I can't. Trust me, there's energies that make you feel a certain way that make you want to smoke. You might have a trapped emotion of depression, anxiety, worry. When you feel these 3 at the same time, guess what? All of a sudden you have to pull out that cigarette. So it's more of an emotion comes first to go trigger the cigarette. And then on top of that, you have an addictive heart energy. That doesn't help you out either. So the first one is, I want to share with you 3 different things that kind of also made me feel good about my decision after I cleared my own addictive heart energy. Number 1 is this really great quote that I love, which is, no success can compensate for failure in the home. So David O. McKay said that, and it's one of my favorite quotes, that at the end of the day, it really matters what, your home is like. And so I'm learning, I'm still growing, guys. I'm not perfect. That's very, very important. Number two is love is spelled Time. That's another one of my favorite quotes. And it's great saying it, but nothing is incorporating it. The third thing is my mother, before she passed away with pancreatic cancer, she says, my biggest regret is that I didn't spend more time with you. And I remember that really, really hit me. But just because something really, really hits you, it doesn't mean you put it into practice. But it's only now that I realize, I'm like, you know what? I need to realize that time with family is really, really important. Time with your best friends, time with people that you love is very, very important to build strong bonds, And so that's, I don't want to do what my mother regretted at the end. I want to make sure there's a balance. And so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I just want to tell you that's the big announcement. The big announcement is I released this thing for myself called Addictive Heart Energy, and 42% of people have it that have a heart wall. So 93% of people that I know, so 93 of you guys who watch this out of 100, 93 of you probably have a heart wall, which causes depression, anxiety. It could cause depression, anxiety, PTSD. But look up heart wall video. Go on YouTube, look up heart wall. You'll probably see a video of me there, and I'll talk about what it really is. You definitely 93% of people have that. On top of that, 42% of that 93% have addictive heart energy, and you're wondering why you always do this or addicted to this, or you have a habit of doing this, and you're like, man, I hate that about myself. I don't know why I'm like that. It's called an addictive heart energy, and I removed mine, and these are the results. These are the changes I'm making in my life. So again, hopefully this inspired someone to be like looking into the emotion code, maybe you're looking into the heart wall, and maybe even look into AHE. And I would love to help out any way that I can, but I just want to share that announcement with everyone. And as I always end my videos, I always say, that the world has this false notion where, I'll take care of you, you take care of me. But we all know if we take care of ourselves, remove our AHE, so that I can actually put things in priority, then we can change our home, we can change our city, we can change our country. And so with that, we can eventually change the world. And so hopefully you guys enjoy this, and I look forward to making it in the next video. Feel free to comment below what's something that maybe you feel addicted to, that you're like, I gotta do this. For some reason, I've always had the need to do this. I don't like it, but I always do it, and I wish I can get rid of it. Maybe I can help you out with that. And with that, you guys have a great day. Take care. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you. I love you, and we'll be talking soon.